In his Liberty and Finance discussion, Phil Lowe tackles two central themes: the immense systemic risk of the $1 quadrillion derivatives market and his surprisingly optimistic vision for life after a dollar collapse. Lowe begins by clarifying what derivatives, specifically over-the-counter derivatives, actually are: side bets between large financial institutions, such as JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, often unrelated to the assets they appear to reference. Unlike exchange-traded instruments, over-the-counter derivatives lack central clearing, making the true market size opaque, though estimates range from $730 trillion to over $1 quadrillion. Lowe illustrates with a hypothetical two banks betting $30 million on whether he will pay his mortgage, even though neither owns it. While some derivatives hedge legitimate risks, most are speculative casino bets on interest rates, weather, shipping costs, or commodities. Critically, these bets are leveraged on margin and then listed as assets on balance sheets, creating a ballooning system of interconnected credit obligations. So, this structure, Lowe argues, really represents the top of Exter's inverted financial pyramid. You see, gold anchors the base, while paper money and government debt find their place in the middle. Then, at the very peak, we have derivatives and those unfunded liabilities, like Social Security and Medicare, forming an unstable summit. Now, while most public discourse, tends to fixate on federal debt, which is a whopping $37 trillion or the money supply, standing at $22 trillion in M2, the derivatives market actually dwarfs them both. However, Lowe contends that derivatives are unlikely to be the direct trigger of collapse. Using a casino analogy, he explains that gamblers will never leave the table because infinite credit is always extended. And well, winners dare not cash in for fear of breaking the system. Instead, the collapse will, stem from lower down in the pyramid, like a failure in the money supply, treasury markets, or sovereign debt, and this will then cause derivatives to evaporate overnight as counterparties fail. History, Lowe notes, shows this dynamic. Lehman Brothers appeared solvent one day, bankrupt the next, as derivative exposure destroyed its balance sheet. He cautions that when the endgame begins, banks will seize pensions and savings accounts to cover losses. Though catastrophic, he emphasizes this is an inevitable feature of a fraudulent, inflationary system, not a sustainable financial reality. Despite this grim assessment, Lowe insists on a post-collapse optimism. The destruction of credit chains, formalized since 1913 through central banking, will eliminate massive firms dependent on endless credit. Giants like Walmart, Monsanto, BlackRock, and much of the federal bureaucracy will vanish because they cannot operate without vast leveraged financing. Their collapse will trigger a decentralization of production, local farmers growing tomatoes instead of factory-farmed imports, small manufacturers restarting clothing and car production, and, entrepreneurs seizing cheap land and assets sold in fire sales. The economy will shrink to smaller, more localized units, echoing early 20th century diversity in industries like automobiles, where dozens of companies coexisted. Government itself, he predicts, will shrink by 95 to 99%, since without credit it just can't fund sprawling bureaucracies. Regulations will largely disappear, leaving freer markets to reorganize naturally. Drawing parallels to post-war Germany, Japan, and South Korea, Lowe argues that societies can rebuild remarkably quickly after devastation, often within decades, through free market forces rather than government subsidies. Ultimately, while the derivatives time bomb may vaporize trillions in paper wealth, Lowe frames collapse not as the end, but as a reset towards smaller, more honest, gold and silver-based economies. Though the transition may be harsh, he sees abundant opportunity for resilient individuals to not only survive, but thrive in a decentralized, freer post-endgame world.